Hello again, it's me, and today we're going to talk about the Konflikt 47 British heavy walker, the Merlin. Okay, so let's open them up. So we get 2 packs. 1, 2. Right, okay, so we get 2 packs. Now, let's have a look. Let's open this one first. Right, so we open him up, and we get the normal Warlord resin instructions: wash, don't eat, it's not suitable for children under 15, things like that. Wear mask when filing it and do things like that. Now we have a base and some transfers. Don't worry, we'll get a bit close, do a bit closer looking at these later on in a minute. Now in box, okay, in here we have 1, 2 legs. That's good because it's a walker, and 2 arms, which are the right way round, which is good. In the second box, the bag, sorry, we get, hopefully that has all the bits. Oh, it's boxed for us by Kai. Oops, there you go. Thank you, Kai. That's a new name. Right, now what we've got here, we have a body and an underbelly bit. Oops, an underbelly bit. So, okay, and we have the guns and the head, which I think is everything. We'll have a look at the back. So let's get a closer look at these bits, shall we? Okay, let's start with the base. A simple, looks like a 60mm base, round, bog standard, wonderful. Then we've got these transfers. Okay, this is the, oops, upside down, it's the British, it's the generic vehicle transfers for the British. Yep, so I personally probably won't use all of these, but I'll use some of them. Just to give it a bit of flavour. So not really much you can say about that. Now, the first pack consisted of arms and legs. There's the arms and legs. Yep. The second pack consisted of a body and the belly bit. Now, if you look at the instructions, you should have 2 arms, 1 bent, 1 not. You have 2 legs, the underbelly bit which the legs connect into, and the body. There's all the resin bits, and the metal bits consist of the 2 HMGs that go under the arm, the anti-tank gun, and the head, and this little bit which is an MMG which goes in the body. Yep. So we will have a look at what we've got. So we've got all the resin bits and the metal bits. I believe we've got all the metal bits. Okay, let's start with the body. Now the body in itself is quite good mold. It's quite good molding. There's not a huge amount of cleanup required on this one, actually. See that hole there? That's where the MMG goes. The arms obviously go on these ball and socket joints, and the bit underneath there, that's where the underbelly bit, other way around, underbelly bit goes. Yep. Now, apart from these risers where they've had to fit the resin in, it's quite a clean mould. I still recommend washing it. I still recommend washing it before painting. That's where the head goes. Now I say the underbelly bit. Now, one thing I do like about these resin models is the fact that they keep all the risers in places which you have to glue together anyway, so you don't, or try to, keep the risers in places where you have to glue. So overall, you don't see that many blemishes on the model once you've assembled it. But that's the little power pack, the power source under there. So when I paint it, it'll be a nice blue glow. But yeah, no, overall, again, there's virtually no tidying up to do. There's just the risers that need coming off. Again, like I say, that fits under there like that. So once I've cleaned it all up, that will fit quite nicely between there. But overall, they are quite nice molds. Now, these are the legs. Now, when you open the box, make sure you get one left, one right, because I've heard of some people getting two rights or two lefts. Hopefully, Warlord have sorted that out. So, obviously, I've got the right ones here, or correct ones here. There's a few risers on the bottom where the filling points, and there's a few blemishes around the rivets and things like that. But overall, it's quite a good cast. And I would always dry fit these before trying to glue it together, because this one can be a bit of a pain, I believe. And I have actually got another one of these, and if you don't want to do any converting or chopping or anything like that, you can only have it, I found you can only have it comfortably in one position. So if you don't mind chopping it and letting the creative juices flow, you'll get different poses. But if you don't want to do that, you'll only get one pose with the legs anyway. The arms are a bit more flexible, I think, with the position, but the legs won't stand up properly unless you do a bit of chopping and converting. But that's the legs fit into the belly bit like this, and you've got to fit it into a dry fit that before, work out what position you're going to get in before you start putting glue on. Otherwise you end up with a huge mess, and it's not a fun experience. I say that out of experience. Now these are the arms. Now we've got one left, one right, which is good, a good start. There's a bit of tidying up required, but nothing hugely concerning. There's a bit more tidying up there than normal, but I think that's just that'll come off with a bit of a toothbrush, a rub with a toothbrush. Don't forget to use masks when you're sanding or working with sanding or modifying resin, because of the hole. You don't want to breathe in any of the resin particles. They could be quite damaging. And that's your other arm, which is a quite nice, there's a bit of tidying up required to do there, but nothing. And there's a few filling points there. So overall, that's quite nice. And this is the other arm. Like I say, it's a nice kit. I do admit it's a nice kit, and the hands are quite okay. They are closed, but it's overall it's quite a nice kit. Now that's the resin. Now I'm going to go put them in a little pot of water to soak and wash the release agent off. Now these are the metal bits. So what we've got here, now we've got, this is what I find a bit silly, a stupid little bit of metal, which is just a cylinder. Now that is the MMG barrel, which fits in the body at the front there. See that little hole there? Just goes in there. Now, I know this is probably the easiest way for them to produce it, but on the first kit I didn't have this. It wasn't in the pack, so I had to get a bit of plastic from somewhere, and which is plenty. It's easy enough. You got loads of sprues floating around. Yeah. And we have the anti-tank gun, which is a shoulder mounted. not much cleaning up to do on this. There's a bit of flash. If you want to drill the barrel out, it's thick enough to drill the barrel out. I personally don't, but overall it's well, there's not a huge amount of detail on there, so you won't be able to do much damage if you go at it with a knife to get rid of all the mold lines, because there's a few mold lines on there. But overall it's all right. Then you've got the Twinlink Hmgs, which go under one of the arms. I believe they go under the straight arm, like that. Oh, there you go, like that. But I don't think there's anything stopping you from putting them under the bent arm. Obviously those two risers are in the way. So I might put it under the bent arm for this one. But again, that's not a bad detail on there. There's not a huge amount of detail. A bit of mold lines there, which could be easily taken off. That's not a problem. And then you have the head, which I think is quite a, for what it is, it's got a little hatch on the top for a really small person. It's not a huge amount, again, not a huge amount of detail on this, and there's a bit of tidying up to do. And there's the head bit which fits on the body like so. You might need to push down a bit. That one there, seems like the hole's not quite the right shape. But that's easy enough to sort. You can either drill it out or file the resin down or something to make it fit. And then that obviously is posable. So yeah, so that is the Merlin Walker for the British Konflikt 47 force. Now, with all my British Konflikt 47, I've seemed to have bought mostly 2 of each. So in true Blue Peter style, here's one I made earlier. Simple paint scheme. And see, I've done the power cell underneath there. The HMGs are mounted under the straight arm, and the shoulder mounted anti-tank gun is there. I've picked out a few details with the brass, and I've got power cables at the back, and then you have some brass pistons at the back as well. Simple basing scheme, and the lenses on the head. I've used some of the transfers. I've used the star on the shoulder, and I actually took the serial number from the Universal Carrier transfer sheet. I didn't realise there were serial numbers on the Universal British Generic Vehicle transfer sheet, but I'll be using them on the next one, so they have different serial numbers. So that is, it shows with a simple paint scheme you can actually get, with a simple paint scheme you can actually get a reasonable looking model ready for the tabletop. In summary, I actually like the British Merlin Heavy Walker. It was a nice model put together. It was a bit of a pain with the posing. You could only, I didn't really want to slice and dice in this case, so I had problem getting it into the pose that it would go into and stand and look realistic on the size of base. The 60mm base is kind of small for it. It'd probably be better to go for a bigger base. Warlord seemed to have put some of the smaller walkers on the 60mm base and some of the bigger walkers on the 60mm base, and it doesn't, a universal base doesn't work for all of them. So I think it probably could have done with a slightly bigger base, probably an 80mm base or something like that. But no, overall it was relatively clean. Mold lines were minimal, modifications were minimal. On the first unit I was actually missing an MMG barrel, which I sorted out by using a bit of round sprue from a 40k sprue, and that fitted quite nicely. So that was an easy fix. It wasn't too much of an issue, and you can't really tell the difference really. But apart from that, yeah, it's a nice kit, and in game it's quite a good model in game. It's the heaviest walker that the Brits can have. I think it's the heaviest walker the Allies can have actually. So there's a bit of an advantage there, and it just fits in with my armoured company quite nicely. So I've got two Hornets, now I've got 2 Merlins, I've got a Tesla, Cromwell as the command, and 2 universal carriers with 5 infantry in each. So it kind of fits nicely into that. Now don't forget, if you liked the video and like me to make some more, please like and subscribe, and we'll see what we can do about getting more done.